In this video, we're looking at fractions. So a fraction is written as a over b, where b cannot equal 0. So for an example, we could have something like 4 over 9. All right, this 4 is known as the numerator. And going forward, whenever I refer to numerator, I'm talking about the number on the top of the fraction. Now this number here is known as the denominator. So going forward again, the bottom number I'll be referring to as the denominator. Alright, so we're going to introduce you to a couple of different types of fractions. So the first one that you'll probably know is what we call a proper fraction. This is where the numerator is less than the denominator. So the top number is the smaller of the two. The next fraction I'll introduce you to is what we call the improper fraction. Now, the numerator is equal to or more than the denominator in this case. So the first example, you can see 15 over 9. You could have something like 15 over 15 as well. That is also what we call an improper fraction. And the last one I'll be introducing you to is our mixed numeral. Now this contains a whole number out the front and a proper fraction behind it, such as 4 and 1/2 or 5 and 2/3. So I'm going to introduce you to converting between some of these different types. So the first one I'm going to look at is converting from an improper to a mixed numeral. Now we need to divide the numerator by the denominator and write the remainder as a proper fraction. Alright, so that might seem like a lot of fancy words, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So we start by writing out our fraction, and we need to divide our numerator, so the top number, by our denominator by the bottom number. So 38 divided by 3. Now that equals 12, but we have 2 left over. So 12 remainder 2. So that 12 becomes our number out the front. So if I go 38 over 3 equals, big 12 out the front, we have 2 left over. So 2 is our new numerator. And on the bottom stays our 3. So all we've done is divided our top number by our bottom number. Whatever's left over remains on top of the fraction. All right, so 38 over 3 becomes 12 and 2/3. Alright, the next one we're looking at is converting from a mixed numeral to an improper fraction. And to do this, we multiply the denominator by the whole number, then add the numerator. Alright, so again, I'm going to write our mixed numeral. Now, essentially what we're going to be doing is timesing here and then adding up here. So what this gets me is essentially 5 times my 7 and then plus 3, and that's still all over 7, so that denominator stays the same. So that gets me 38 over 7. Okay, so our first, let me just change some of these colors and then I'll show you what's happened. So this part is our red, and then up here in blue is our back part here. Alright, so we do the red first, 5 times 7, and then plus our numerator. Alright, the next thing we're going to look at is what we call equivalent fractions. Now these are fractions with different numbers, but the same value. So what that means is 1 over 2, that is the same as having 2 over 4, which is the same as having 3 over 6 and 4 over 8. So that can keep going. So what we're having there, they're all a half, but they're represented with different numbers. Now this is what we call equivalent fractions. So sometimes you'll be given, such as this example, find the missing number. Alright, and we need to do this by finding what our common multiple is. Alright, because there's always a common multiple. If we looked at that example up the top, the 1 over 2, 2 over 4, 3 over 6, what we've done each time is times by 2. So we times by 2 to get to here, and we times by 2 to get over here. Alright, so there's a common multiple going on there. Alright, so next, find the missing number. So there's 2 ways to go about this. The first way is to have something like 4 times something is going to equal that 20, okay? And we need to find that something. In this case, I know 4 times 5 equals 20, so that multiple is going to be 5. The second way to do this would be go, well, what's 20 divided by 4? All right? What does that get me? And that gets me 5 as well. So you're seeing that the common number there is 5. 5 is our multiple that we need to do. So if I draw a little arrow, let me draw these numbers out again. If I have 3 over 4 equals question mark over 20, I know my common multiple is 5, and I know I'm timesing 5 to get there, and that works on the top two. So whatever this new number is, it's going to be 3 times 5. So 3 times 5 is 15, so 3 over 4 is the same as 15 over 20. Alright, so there's two ways to do that. The first way is to find that 4 times something equals 20. The second way would be go 20 divided by 4. And the reason I know it's 20 and 4 that I'm using is because those are the numbers where I have both of them. Okay, so they're linked. Yeah, and if I had the top numbers, I would do the same thing.